Hey everyone, my name's Walter, and I'm back here with more stories I found on Reddit. Today we're here to talk about problems in relationships, be they with friends, partners, or what have you. I'll be using resources like Reddit Relationships and Am I the Asshole? Anyway, let's just get started with relationship problems from Reddit. This was originally from Reddit Relationship Advice. I got my sister fired, and I'm feeling conflicted. Throwaway account, because a few people in this story know my main account. So me, 28 female, and my sister, 38 female, have always been fairly close all of our lives. However, things have recently plummeted, and I don't think our relationship will ever be salvaged. For context, Lydia has been a therapist for the past 5 years, and up until recently I thought she was amazing at her career. However, about 4 months ago, Lydia and I started to hang out with our old group of gal pals for the first time in several years. This is when I saw a totally different side of Lydia that I didn't like one bit. I don't think I've ever heard someone aside from Chris Chan use the term gal pals. Whenever Lydia and I would hang out with our friends, 6 of us in total, she would often gossip about some of her patients. She would belittle them, mock the way they cried/spoke, call them degrading names, and just generally talk down on them as if they were beneath her. I found this to be appalling and shocking, because I couldn't believe that this was the same Lydia I had grown up with. I've spoken to her about this several times over the past 4 months, but she always says I'm overreacting. She basically says what they don't know won't hurt them. She also tried to compare that her bad-mouthing her patients was no different than me venting about my annoying coworkers. I think that's a very weak argument because violating the trust and confidentiality of people who trust you is in no way comparable to me complaining about bitchy coworkers. After it was obvious that she wasn't going to stop, I decided to take more drastic action. About a week ago, me, Lydia, and our friend group all hung out at my place. A couple of hours into the hangout, Lydia started to gossip about her patients again. I then used that opportunity to poke my phone out of my pants pocket and discreetly record her. She went on for a good 30+ minutes talking about her patients, and not only did she make fun of some of the reasons they were in therapy, but she even used their real names. After she was done, I stopped the recording and went on with the night like nothing happened. The next day, I filed an anonymous complaint against Lydia via email and sent it to her place of employment. I basically stated in the email that she was engaging in unprofessional conduct and that I felt she was breaking confidentiality rules. I also attached the 30-minute video footage as evidence for my complaints. The next day, I got a response, thanking me for bringing this all to their attention and that the issue would be handled. 3 days later, Lydia called me and started cussing me out to high heaven. She said that she got a call the day before from her superior, requesting that she come in for a meeting to discuss complaints made against her. She told me that I got her fired and that my anonymous trick didn't work. She knew immediately it was me. She said I was a worthless who snitched on her, all because of some harmless work gossip. She accused me of only reporting her because I'm jealous of her for always being the more successful sister. She told me to go straight to hell. She'll never forgive me for backstabbing her and she never wants to see me again. She hung up and proceeded to block me on all forms of communication before telling everyone in our group that I ruined her life. I feel very split. Half of our group thinks she deserves to get fired, but the other half thinks I hit way below the belt. This sucks because Lydia and I have always been best friends, so to lose her all in one day is beyond heartbreaking. Is there anything I can do, or should I leave this all behind and move on? Yeah, obviously you can't report her anonymously if you've been bugging her about it. She did deserve to be fired, though. This has gotta be breaking HIPAA if she's using names. I'll admit, I'm not sure if I'd secretly record a close relative and turn them in so they'd lose their job. I probably wouldn't, but it's probably also the right thing to do. I know that no one likes the idea of their therapist turning around and mocking them to their friends. Sounds like a Seinfeld episode or something. You did the right thing. You did not get your sister fired. Her actions got her fired. If I found out my therapist was trash talking about me to her friends, I would be beyond pissed off. Filing a lawsuit pissed off. Not only was it unethical for her to be gossiping about her patients, but it's also illegal. It's one thing if she was talking to her colleagues in a professional setting, trying to help a patient, but gossiping with friends is an absolute violation of trust. Judging by her reaction, you do not need that toxic bitch in your life. Cut her out completely until she apologizes to you. Thank you for standing up for those of us who are in therapy and protecting our privacy. Good luck to you. Okay, now how about another story? I, 30 male, feel a lot of guilt for fapping to an Instagram model who later became my friend. I don't know how to make it up to her. I am ashamed to admit that I often fap to women on porn sites, Victoria's Secret ads, Instagram, and OnlyFans. 6 months ago, during a meal, my friend brought his girlfriend to meet everyone. I was horrified to see that she was an Instagram lingerie model I used for my spank bank. I've always seen her as this distant, super beautiful person with 800k followers, someone who belonged on the internet and not real life. And now it turned out that, yeah, here's the real person in the flesh, and she's pretty fucking cool too. She plays WoW, fixes PCs, and volunteers at animal shelters. Worse still, she's my friend's girlfriend, and all these times I treated her as nothing more than a FAP object. I should have distanced myself from my friends, but I didn't. Instead, she and I even steadily became good friends and raid buddies in WoW, and all this time I've been bottling up my guilt. I wanted to admit to my friend how fucked up I was and how I betrayed him, but I couldn't do it. I asked someone online and they told me not to breathe a fucking word to her because I fucked with her badly enough, and the last thing she needs is for this creep to confront her IRL. I deleted the photos of her and other women off my PC already. Folks have told me to switch to using hentai instead, and I tried, but I can't. I just don't find anime women attractive. What I hate is how she thinks of me as a friend, yet she doesn't know what I did to her. I can't bear it anymore. How can I make it up to her? You can make it up to her by never mentioning it to her or preferably anyone else either. And you should stop feeling guilty because you haven't really done anything wrong. But definitely don't do anything. I can't see it going well. I do like how he actually tried switching to anime girls but just couldn't do it. I guess 3D is too alluring. Do not tell anyone anything. Just don't. Nobody cares about your masturbating habits. Don't fucking say anything. You shut the fuck up. What's done is done, no harm, no foul. Telling your friend's girlfriend that you used to masturbate to her crosses so many lines. You're human, what you did was natural, but you keep your masturbation habits to yourself. Yeah, let's read another story. Am I the asshole for not entertaining my ex who flew to my hometown for my birthday? 2 months-ish ago, I broke up the long-distance relationship with my boyfriend after nearly 2 years. It was evident that neither of us were really willing to take the plunge to move near each other, and with the pandemic and all those restrictions, we weren't sure if we'd even be able to meet in person anytime relatively soon, despite constant promises on his end that never were met. The distance alone was not the only reason I decided to end the relationship, because I probably could have kept living with that since we were so in love. What really was the nail in the coffin was insecurities, on both our parts, but mainly his. I have a high sex drive, and he was always worried that I would cheat. Eventually, I became tired of defending myself to his accusations, and I broke up with him. The first week after the breakup, we spoke on the phone nearly every day. Breaking up and getting back together is something we'd done many times over the past 2 years, and I could tell we were heading back in that direction, which I really didn't want to do again. He was promising things would be different this time around, and guaranteeing that he'd come visit for my upcoming birthday/the holidays like he'd been saying all summer, and the summer before that even. I told him that I wished him nothing but the best, but that this time it was really over between us and we needed to go no contact. That was at the end of August. Yesterday was my birthday, and to my total surprise, my ex flew into town wanting to take me out for a special evening like we discussed when we were together. The plane tickets had been purchased after we broke up. I'd pretty much just gotten over the breakup and was finally feeling like myself again, so despite him flying halfway across the country, I told him that I had other plans for my birthday, gave him a simple hug, and sent him on his way. Today I wake up to an email from him where he basically has called me every name in the book for shutting him down last night. I do feel terrible that he wasted the money on a plane ticket to come out this way, but I thought he understood that our relationship was over. My friends who I've spoken to about last night all seem to agree with my ex that I should have went out and had at least dinner since he went to all the trouble. Are they right? Am I the asshole here? No, they're not right. I mean, what is his motive here for not telling you he's coming? It's because he'd say no if he asked. That's enough to say he's being annoying right there. Yeah, it's too bad he wasted the money buying stupid tickets when you already told him it was over. Alright, one more. I really love these food ones. Am I the asshole for bringing my own broth to Hot Pot? I, 19 male, needed a suggestion for a date this weekend, so my buddies suggested I take my girlfriend, 27 female, to a restaurant that serves Chinese food, including Hot Pot. For those of you who don't know, Hot Pot is a Chinese dish that consists of a communal pot of broth that you cook different meats and veggies in it. Anyway, I went to the website and realized that the broth costs $16. I don't mind shelling out for a nice dinner with my girlfriend, but $8 a person for broth just seemed insane. Anyway, I looked through the menu and it said it was BYOB, which I figured if I could bring booze, I could probably bring any liquid. Anyway, the day of, I made a tomato broth beforehand and poured it into 2 bottles of wine. It was obvious if you looked closely, but they clearly didn't care that much since nobody checked. Anyway, when we got to the table, the waiter asked what broth we wanted, but I told him we didn't need any. My girlfriend just assumed that meant we would be ordering from the other menu. They had non-hot pot foods like steamed buns as well, and asked him to give us some more time so we could order. I explained what I had done and poured the tomato broth into the pot, but she looked horrified and started chewing me out for being cheap. I tried to explain my thought process, but she just left. I left a nice tip and left as well, but she's refused to speak to me for about a week. I know it was maybe a stupid idea, but ultimately nobody was hurt, and if they'd let us keep the broth, I could have saved a fair bit of money on the dinner. Reddit, am I the asshole? I'm sure someone in the comments will roast this better than me, but you're largely paying for the broth when you go to these places, and asking to bring your own is completely insane. And he sneaks it in wine bottles too. They didn't check the wine bottles to make sure I wasn't sneaking broth in, go figure. However, if you're 27 and want to date a 19-year-old, you might run into this sort of thing. Anyway, it's about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say about the stories or my channel, please let me hear it in the comments. They help me with the algorithm and whatnot. If you're new here and want more of the same, please consider subscribing because there's going to be more shortly here. Also, big thanks to my generous patrons who support me more directly. It's not required, but it helps a lot. So have a great day, everyone, and don't be too concerned when I suddenly show up at your house. What? It was a nice gesture.